Hello everyone, this is Rebecca from Papatricia and welcome to Thorough Thursday. This is a new playlist, and basically what I did was take the concept of Monograph Monday and the concept of Thematic Thursday and put them together and come up with something new. It will be projects that are a little bit more in-depth and complete. So that's what we've got. Now, this idea came from a child's board book. You know, the little books that are made from thick cardboard, and there's like 5 or 6 pages, but the book's really thick. So that's where this concept came from. And before I show it to you, let me show you what I used to make the boards. So this is the back of a paper pad, a 9x12 paper pad. Now the one that I used here was a little thicker than this one. I've cut this one, or I've measured and marked it for the next one that I make exactly the same. Now when I came up with this, I had printed out 2 of these pictures, and you have seen this lady before. But I actually made this first. I made this about a month ago, but I still was playing with it, and I decided to make it a fabric covered book. So let me show it to you. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do next here? So let me just show it to you, and then we can go on from there. So what I did was, as you can see here, I have different sizes, and what I had in my mind was having different heights and widths. I think this is 6 pages altogether, so that you can see a little bit of what's behind it, and you have hints. And at first I just had the one picture, and I thought, okay, I'll do something else, and then it was just like, no, this needs to be a full-blown thing. And here's the good thing about it: if you don't want to make it into a little book, then each one of these can be a standalone piece within a journal, and not a journal itself. So this has a little holding place here, and then it has 2 small double pockets. Now let's see if I can get that back in there. Here, with just some music paper folded up and put in these double pockets. On the back side is a pocket with a little journaling card. They're all basically the same, but with different pictures, different backgrounds, and different fabric. So this is a page from a book in here, and then a little journaling card on the back. This is also a page from a different book. This is you've seen this book pages in several projects lately from a old plant book. And then the same on the back. Another a little journaling card, a piece of music paper there, and another piece here, another piece of like I said, it's been over a month, or about a month. So yeah, this is just a piece of coffee dyed paper that I ripped up and put there. And then the last one is this big paper, and then this is photo paper, but I tea stained the back so that each one of these photos can still be journaling cards, and then with another piece of coffee dyed paper, and then the back. So that's what we're making, although what we're making today, I'm not putting any photographs in. That was just a brainstorm that I had because I had this little one and wanted to do something with it when I printed these for the project that I don't even remember now what it was, but I did her in a bigger version. So so that's the project, although it's going to look completely different. I'm using all scrapbook paper and all sort of French vintage themed. And the other thing that I'm using is, now hopefully this won't glare too much. I found a bunch of these. Now this stain is on the plastic, not on the paper, but these are to make little board books from. And since the other one that I just showed you that I had already traced out, since this was a little thinner than the last one, I decided to use one of these. So what I have done already, there was 5 sheets in the pack, so I went ahead and just cut each one of them in see if I can get this to in a 1/4 inch increments to make another book. And so what I'll end up doing is centering them to look something like that. But I'm going to be using the scrapbook paper with decorations and things like that to make this one. So that's the project for today. Okay, to get started, you'll need to cut out as many cardboard pieces or the whatever you want to use as your base that you want, in whatever sizes that you want, and then cut out your paper front and back for each one. So that pack that I showed you, they were 6 by 6, I think it was. So I cut the holes off and then just went from, I think it was 5.5 down to 4, I believe. This being the front and the smallest one. So the first thing we're going to do is get a glue stick. And I've got a piece of paper here I'm just going to use as my back, just so that I don't get it all over everything. And you just want to glue, my goodness, what a mess I've just made. And my glue stick's running out. Well, that's just perfect timing, isn't it? Okay, let me get another glue stick. Okay, let me wipe that off a little bit. Okay, so as I was saying, I use glue stick, even though I hate this purple stuff, but I've got it, I'm going to use it. And it does dry clear, so there's some saving grace. Now, I don't trust the glue stick, so I am putting glue along the edges because I want this paper to stay down, especially along the edges. And if you have an old file folder, a paper one, or the kind that has the little bit of foam between the layers, you'll need one of those or something to rub off the edge of the paper and this little board. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. I'm just going to put a little bit through here where it's just not, I know it's already there and it's already drying, but I just don't trust this stuff, I swear I don't. Okay, so I need to put stuff out of my hands before I can put stuff in my hands, I suppose. Alright, so I want this to be my front piece, and so I just layer it down like that, go up the middle, rub out to the edges, like so. Okay, and my next stop is at the iron. So once you get that one adhered, ever how you do it, whether you just let it dry naturally or whatever, anyway, you got to come back in and do the other side. I just hate how this gets so gummy. It's like purple snot. I mean, I hate to say that, but it is. It's nasty stuff. Okay, now, so yeah, make sure you reinforce the edges, in any other place that you feel it might need it. And the way I cut mine out, I used a craft knife and a ruler on a cutting mat. But if you have one of those, I forget exactly what they're called, but they're the rotary turn cutters. You could probably use those. I do have one. I don't really use it that much. I have one that's a guillotine on one side and one of those rotary cutters on the other. And I do use the guillotine when I'm cutting heavier cardstock and in big sheets, you know, like 12 by 12s and stuff. But I don't use it for just like every day. Okay. Alright, now let's see if we can put this on. And I always do it just lightly, that way if I need to move it a little bit I can. Okay, so back to the iron for this side, and then we'll be on to the next step. Okay, so now we've got it adhered, and if you have a little bit of edge showing, that don't matter. We're getting ready to file that off. If you do have anything sticking out just a little bit, even if it's just a tiny bit, just go ahead and take the scissors and just get rid of that little sliver, whatever it might be. Okay, now the next step is I'm just using this paper nail file. These are way too gritty for my fingernails. My fingernails are porous and stay on the dry side, so these are the worst things ever for me. But I've got some, so I'm using them for this project. So basically just start on one side or the other, it doesn't matter. And the way I started mine was I did this motion right here and just got it started, and then I went back in and smoothed it this way. Then I did the other side, and you can do whatever works best for you in doing this. One thing I will say, this does create a little bit of dust, so when I did some earlier today, I did it over my trash can and held it down. So you don't want to, you know, breathe in anything that you're creating here. But also I'm doing this really slowly, so the dust is, I don't know if you can see that dust right there, but it's going to slide off here. Another thing I like to do is I like to go across the corner that way, and it gives it a rounded effect. Because my idea for these is I want them to look old, or at least well used. So that's what I'm doing. And I am only showing you one of these. I've already made the other four to the stage of completion that I want them at this time. I have two that I haven't found the right piece to put on the back side, but and this might be a third, but you'll see what I mean here shortly. Okay, so see, there's one I should have cut off just a little bit. The scissors can do a closer job than this fingernail file. And the one thing I like about this is I'm using scrapbook paper that has somewhat of a theme to it. And so that makes it easy to make something that is cohesive and, you know, things kind of go together a little bit. That was sort of the goal anyway. I used this particular paper that I'm using now, and then what's on the rest of the ones that I did come from a paper pack from Hobby Lobby, and it's called Theodosia Square, and all the papers in it are like French themed, so it's a really good paper pack to use if you're just looking for something with a French background. Okay. Alright, now to round the corners, after you've done both sides of your paper, just come in and pretend they're your fingernail, sorta, kinda, and just round. You just don't want anything sticking up, you know, just whenever you round it, just make sure you get everything that makes the corner the corner. And there, that one's rounded. And you just keep coming. I'm going to trade ends. And you just keep doing it until you get the shape that you want. I'm just sort of doing I just want it rounded. It don't have to be exactly like the last one I did, as long as it's just don't have a sharp corner and it don't have any little extra stuff sticking up that I missed. Okay, so go on to the next one, and hopefully I'm not jiggling too much so that you can see what's what here. Okay, we're almost done with this little part. Scrape a little bit more off of that corner. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you just want to go over those sides again on this side, flip it over, and get rid of anything that got roughed up from the other side. Make sure that your corners are the way you want them on this side as well. Now, a trick that I learned many years ago, like 30-ish years ago, or at least 25, for a while, a decade or so, I was the apprentice, more like an errand girl, but I'm going to be good to myself and say apprentice, to a professional house painter. So I learned a few tips and tricks on doing that sort of thing along the way. And one of the things that I learned is when you have dust on something, the best thing to get dust off is oops, my light just fell. Let's put that back up there, out of the way. Okay, as I was saying, the best thing to get dust off of something is a dry paintbrush. So, that's what we're doing right here. We're getting the dust off with a dry paintbrush. Now, I am also going to brush this off right here. And if you're doing this along with me, you probably have a workstation that looks about like this right now too. So let's everybody just stop and clean this junk off for a second and throw it away. Alright, now this is my back, and this is my front. Now, one thing that I did earlier today is I made me some fake vellum, and I have not cut this down yet. So I'm going to trim this picture down. And one thing that I have learned in doing this fake vellum, and I don't know if it applies to real vellum or not, but you can glue it. And I know I've heard people say that on real vellum, or stuff like Hobby Lobby and all that stuff, they sell it's plant-based vellum, but if you read up on what vellum is actually the skin of an animal that has been scraped so clear that you can write on it, which is why it was used as to be written on. But plant-based vellum, I guess it's plants that are in big enough sheets, or the cellulose. I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. But anyhow, what I'm trying to say is that this fake vellum that I make can be glued, and if you're really careful, you can glue it so that the glue can't be seen underneath. So I said all that to say that. Anyway, I think my ink is getting a little dry. I've been doing crafts all day, and I have not soaked it in a while. Okay, glue. Here's the glue. So I want to make this a pocket, but I'm thinking I might actually do this on the back side and not on the front, but I really wanted her on the front, but I don't want to cover up that picture or that little plant thing right there, but I might not have a choice. And I also have this flower that I'm going to glue right there. So, okay, I guess she's getting glued. I'm going to leave the top open to make it a little bitty pocket. Did I say that already? I don't know if I did or not. Anyway, I am going to glue these three sides, leave the top open, and I'll put a little something in it if my glue will ever come out. And I'm making this as thin as possible. I mean, it will squish, obviously. It'll squish and get wider, but I'm going to try to keep it as thin as can be. Yeah, this is just regular copy paper. And I do want to do a tutorial on how to do it. But I just haven't had time with different sicknesses and this, that, and the other. And different other type things going on. So I haven't quite got there yet, but I will. Oh wait, I'm about to forget to do something very important. Okay. Before you put anything on the front, ink it. I don't know what I'm thinking. Ink it, ink it, ink it. And I guess even, well, I can still put that on. Yeah, I really need to put some more ink on that little pad. It's not much on it. But I'll try to make it work. Well, that looks better already, don't it? Oh well. So, if I had made this core underneath out of the paperboard from the back of the paper pad, I probably would not be inking because this is white. I'm inking it because I don't want the white to show. I don't like it's very hard to make something vintage if it's showing white on it. And if you do ink, make sure that you run it along the width of this here, because it's kind of hard to get that from inking the sides. Okay, now let's try this again. How about it? Alright, I'm going to go as close to that corner as possible. I really want to come up a little bit. How straight does that look? Okay. Alright, I am going to go press this with the iron so it don't come back up. Okay, now I think the next thing that I need to do is make my holes. And this one is 5 inches, and so that means half is 2.5, and I was coming at 1.5 inches, so 1.5 inches this way would be 4, and 1.5 inches this way would be 1. And then I was doing them 1/4 of an inch in, but I can't even see that. See this one? Oh, there it is. Well, I wasn't too far off of it. Okay, let me grab my tool to do this with, and I will be right back. I knew I was forgetting something. I'll use this old placemat to cut these things so that I don't mess up the mat underneath. Okay, there's one. Well, if I can get it to go where I want it to go. You can see how that works. It twists. Sometimes it's a little hard to get the angle pushed down that I need, because this desk area is pretty high, so it's hard to reach. Okay, now let's put those little doohickeys in there. Get the silent setter. And turn them that way. Yeah, this is something I'd never see on like Amazon anymore. I think I've had mine 3 or 4 years now, give or take, and I don't see that many people using them, but they do come in handy. I think I need to go up to the bigger size. I'm using eyelets for sewing. The way you can tell the difference between eyelets for sewing and eyelets for crafts, and I don't know if I've said this before to anybody, or in a video rather. Well, if I can get it to open. Eyelets for sewing will always come with the backs, okay? Because they're meant to finish the piece so that whoever's wearing it won't feel this metal on the inside if it was to be near this, touching the skin. So they're better made, better quality, better metal, even if they're made in China, still a better quality. If you get eyelets that do not come with these, then they're not going to be as good. They'll be a softer metal, won't hold up as good, which is still fine for paper stuff. I mean, I ordered these several years ago when I was making handmade bags and clothing, what's the word? Historical accurate clothing and that sort of thing. I was making corsets and all that sort of stuff. And I kind of got out of that and into this. So I have them, so I'm using them even though they, I used to have a heavy duty eyelet setter, but I sold it to a friend of mine who, he creates his own historical outfits, and he needed it a lot more than I did. So, but I think I'm going to go up to the next size just to get them smoothed a little bit. These ones are tougher. They've always been tougher. But it's the only ones I have that are this antique brass color. So that's why I'm using them. Okay, that's as far as I'm going. So, alright, so now we have this little thing in a pocket. Now the next thing we want to do is I'm going to go kind of between there and glue down this flower. Now it had a pin on the back of it, like a lapel pin, and I pulled it off because I didn't want that. So we're gonna come on. There we go. So I'm just gonna put a little there. Maybe go outside that ring just slightly. And I don't know that I'll need these, but I'm going to get them just in case. Now, which way do I want it to go? I think I like that side. Move it over just enough so that her basket can still be seen a little bit. Then let's put that there and that there. Okay, now that don't take long to set, so what I'm going to do while that is getting in place, I'm going to show you what I've already done and go ahead and get started sewing, not sewing, but tying this journal together. So here are the other pages, and so when I went looking for files to print from, I felt like the best thing that I had as kind of a theme was like gardening or plants at the very least. So so this one has two little journaling cards. Now I pulled, the only thing that I made specific for this journal are the little faux vellums. Everything else is stuff that I already either had or had made. So so this is a good thing to, you know, use some of your from your stash. I had I printed these a year or so ago when I did a project that everything in it was in French. So I had printed out some words, all plant-based words. I think this is a hyacinth in French. I'm pretty sure that's right. And I still have a handful more over here of French words. Theater, although I printed that too close to the edge. And then Provence and baguette, and that one, I can say it if I hear somebody else say it. What's funny is I have traced my ancestry, and I have ancestors from here. But I'm not 100% sure how to say it, so whatever. And then I have Mon amour, which is my love. Journal is a French word. Merci beaucoup, thank you very much, and amour just is love. Bonjour, goodbye, I think that's right. Au revoir, I think that's also goodbye. I don't remember. And then Paris, France, and I'm going to take that off and put that on the one that's working right now, and then Marseille. So, just some stuff that I put together to make something a while back that I was still able to use. I don't remember what this word means, but I know this is of lavender. So I think it's not bouquet, because bouquet is a French word. But anyway, this is just a tag out of the same paper pack here. And the turquoise kind of matched. And then on this side, there's a little lady in a garden. And this come off of a notepad that I had, so I just folded it up. And then I had this little fake envelope that I put some coffee stain paper on the back and just put it in there as just a little journaling spot there. And then Bretagne, I got ancestors from there too. And this is a card. It don't really go with the rest of it, but it is it's in French, so I just stuck it in. And then this is one I don't have anything on the back yet. And then this one when I laid it down, it's pulled up some blue out of the paper, so now it looks purple, but it wasn't that way when I put it down. And then the fleur-de-lis with a little bitty envelope. And then technically this is not a lily, but it's a tulip, but it was the closest thing I had to stick in there. And then this is a giant, like belly band. I haven't put anything in it yet, but it's on there to put something in. So that is the pages thus far. And I'm going to use the same white yarn that I used on the other one. One, because it's neutral and I really don't have anything else that I like. And two, even though it's not a French company or anything like that, it's this color and the yarn is like a French country thing. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this through here, hopefully without it giving me any trouble. Yeah, I spoke too soon, didn't I? Okay. And then let's do this one. And maybe by the time we finish, this flower over here will be set enough that we can go ahead and put the rest of it together. That's the plan anyhow. So yeah, I have a grandson that's about to turn 7 a little bit later this month on the 18th. And when he was 2, I made him a soft book with little felt tennis shoes that that he could tie, and I made a ladybug that had a zipper in it so he could learn how to do a zipper, and then I had a little jacket with a tie underneath so he could learn how to button a jacket. It was so cute. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but this reminds me of that. And that noise you just heard was that bulldog clip a while ago falling down. Because this workstation is on top of my dryer, and so it's fell down and hit the side of the dryer somewhere. Okay, let's see where we are. Do this over here. Well, it's still pretty wet, but I need to get on with stuff, so it'll just have to do for now. So all right. Yay. Alright, now, I should have cleaned more of my trash up. I do want to put a few more tags in here and things like that, but I don't have them made just yet. I have tags made, but nothing that suits this style. When you go to tie your pages, to tie this, you need to leave it loose enough for the pages to turn, and account for, if you've not filled it up yet, account for whatever those thicknesses are. Now this is obviously a little too loose, but you get the idea what I mean by that. So what I'm going to do is get everything lined back up again. And I'm just going to go in, I'm going to do it here, and give it just a little bit leave it a little bit loose, and then I am going to make a knot, but I'm going to keep the knot somewhat loose, and that way I can loosen it more if I need to, but I'm kind of hoping that that will be all I need, and then if it is, I can just, cinch it tight. So let's do this again. Okay, that's not bad. Unlike the one with all the lace, there's not a lot of bulk right here, so I could actually tighten it back up. I could tighten it up a little bit more even. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in and tighten it just a little bit more. I don't want it tight at all. But I think I'm just going to put my finger in it and tighten it up on my finger. And I think that will be enough. So basically, doing this project, you're just doing the same thing over and over with whatever the measurements are of the boards that you want. Stack them in the order that you want, and then add ephemera, pockets, tags, whatever you want to fill the journal out, and make it into just a little showpiece. That was kind of my thought. Well, my battery died, so I took the opportunity to create the last little piece of ephemera for this back of this page and color up my thing I wanted to put on the front. So the way I'm going to do this is just a folded up piece of scrapbook paper off of this piece here, and I just folded it up so that it can be pulled out and written on. So I'm just going to glue this little part down on the page. Make sure I get it turned the right way. And so I got it folded back this way, and I don't know if you can see what I'm doing really, but there we go. Just putting it almost to the edge, not quite. Just letting that grip there. And while that's holding on, I have a kind of a sticker book thing over here that I forgot I had, and it's so old the sticky's just about gone. So this is a couple of stamps and I guess and a postmark type thing. Anyway, I'm just putting some ink around it so that it's not quite so stark, and I'm going to put that, not too bad, I'm going to glue up the back of it because it's going to need it. I'm going to have to start storing my glue upside down when it gets below about halfway, I think. So, just put a little glue over the back of this to hold it down. Okay, now, let's hold it this way, and so I am going to put that, where do I want to put it? I'm going to put it right here, and I'm just putting it there as a decoration, so that when somebody opens this up to write on this page, then they just got this little postmark stampy thing. So there's that on that side. Now this, these are a couple of the words I showed you earlier, and I'm just gonna put a little glue here. And I sprayed it with a little bit of tea and coffee ink. Okay. And then I'm going to put that. I know that's going to cover up one of her feet, but it'll keep it warm maybe. I don't know. Keep it from getting sunburnt out in the sun. Keep her from stepping on a splinter. When I was growing up, we went barefooted all the time. I hardly knew what shoes were. And even now, I go barefooted a lot. Okay, so let me bring the other one in. Now, even though they look completely different, they're the same pattern per se, just a selection of rectangles that's been, in this case, covered with fabric. In this case, covered with paper and the edges filed. On these, I glued the fabric down on both sides, ironed the edges, and then I used my regular pinking shears and cut it, and then went back and cut between each one so that it gave it somewhat of a decal look. And that's how I did that one. So here we go. Not too bad. I still have this one here. I've not put anything on the back, but I haven't found anything that I really want to put on it yet without repeating something. So I'll be finding something to put on that. And then of course there's this one that I really love both of them. So there we go. So that's the Thorough Thursday project. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you give it a go. And if I didn't work out all the kinks, hopefully if you come across any kinks, you can work them out easily. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again very soon.